Well, what's up guys, 11 kills, 2200 spawn points.
If you ever find yourself playing US 47 ground and ask, what's the best plane to bring for CAS? Then welcome to the club, because there's a fair few planes to choose from. You've got the tried and true all-American P-47 with both HVARs and bombs, which seems to be the go-to for most people. The F6F5N has 50s and 20s with bombs and rockets.
Get him.
Oh!
Oh my god, Krabby, stop.
Another great option. Let's see. The P-38L has gun pods. The B-26V. Oh man. Who would even think to... What? Okay. But let's look at a more serious answer for the best. The F4U-1C Corsair. I've done quite a bit of research on this plane, and no, the C does not stand for Corsair. Instead, the name comes from the first plane produced by Vought, the O2U Corsair. This Corsair was a naval scouting biplane, and about 300 were built. Half of them had these cool floats, but are different from the monoplanes we have in game, designated the OS2U Kingfisher. Vought went on to produce the SBU Corsair, a two-seat biplane dive bomber with a fully enclosed cockpit. This is still different to the monoplane naval dive bomber that we have in game, the Vought SB2U Vindicator. Unfortunately, the SBU Corsair was discontinued when the Navy just decided they didn't want any two-seat fighters anymore. So now it's 1938 and the Navy is requesting a plane to be constructed with the following guidelines. A single engine fighter with maximum possible speed and a range of at least 1,000 miles. The fighter needed at least 4 guns, 3 would be acceptable if it meant more ammunition, and the ability to drop bombs. Engineering mind Rex Beazle led Vought's design team, and together they were able to produce a prototype with a huge engine. In fact, it was the largest and most powerful engine with the biggest propeller on a naval plane up to that point. Reports from the front line indicated that the previous weaponry requirements were going to be insufficient, and so the XF4U-1 prototype was fitted with 6 50 caliber machine guns in the wings. Needless to say, the Navy was impressed with what Vought had to offer. In 1941, the contract for almost 600 F4U-1s was awarded to Vought, but they had a much bigger decision ahead of them. Vought looked to the past for inspiration. They had a team of the greatest minds available. It was decided the new F4U-1 would be named the Corsair. This was it. Years of development, and the name was still as good as ever. But Vought needed to improve their design even further if they wanted to be remembered for their ingenious naming scheme or plane design. The first big modification came in the F4U-1A, where the canopy and seat were adjusted to give pilots better visibility, and the landing gear was improved to make carrier landings safer. The F4U-1B is an unofficial post-war designation which identifies Corsairs that were used by the British. So, I mean, we'll just pretend those don't even exist. The next big change was the F4U-1D. Relax, we'll get to the C in a second. The D variants were given another upgraded engine with a water injection system that greatly increased the plane's performance. Fighter bombers were in short supply for the Navy, so Vought decided it just made sense to equip these new Corsairs with pylons to drop bombs or fire rockets. These pylons also allowed the use of fuel drop tanks, which increased the range of the Corsairs even more. Alongside the production of the new F4U-1Ds were the F4U-1Cs. The C variant was equipped with 4 20mm AN-M2 cannons instead of the 6 50 caliber machine guns. The increased firepower was intended specifically for ground attack missions, and it was very much appreciated by pilots. Many believe that the 20s were better in every way compared to the 50s. Unfortunately, the cannons would freeze up at higher altitudes, and most pilots preferred the more reliable 50 cals that wouldn't freeze or jam nearly as often. Once this small small problem was fixed, however, the United States Marine Corps were particularly fond of this new fighter-bomber aircraft that could also be deployed from aircraft carriers. And because of these special factors, the Corsairs were mainly used in the Pacific Theater during World War II. Corsairs could deploy high quantities of ordnance including high explosive bombs, napalm tanks, HVARs, bat glide bombs, and tiny tins. Just imagine it. April 7th, 1945. Operation Iceberg, the battle for Okinawa. Marine Fighter Squadron 311 operating Vought F4U-1C Corsairs take off from escort carriers USS Sitco Bay and USS Brighton. These escort carriers and the fighters on them are meant to protect the fleet from Japanese aerial attacks. Japan sent hundreds of planes to attack the Allied fleet surrounding Okinawa. Kamikaze attacks were ordered to defend the island. The Corsairs were flying combat air patrol that day when they spotted a Kawasaki Ki-48 headed directly for USS Sitco Bay. Fortunately for the carrier's crewmen that day, the Corsairs were able to engage and shoot down the twin-engine light bomber. During the close air support operations on Okinawa, BMF-311, aka the Tomcats, were credited with shooting down 71 Japanese aircraft in just 4 months. They were good planes. Naval and Marine aviators often referred to the Corsairs as ensign eliminators because it was so much more difficult to master compared to other carrier-borne aircraft. Infantrymen named it the Sweetheart of the Marianas and the Angel of Okinawa for its invaluable support in those campaigns. Allied forces like to think the Japanese called the Corsair the Whistling Death. After World War II, the Corsair had reached a near mythical status in aviation history that has continued to last even to this day. Pilots from all around the world continue to find the F4U-1C's exceptional performance in the ground support role as reliable as ever, and Vought decided to never again name a plane Corsair for at least another 20 years. So we have a plane that was designed and used specifically for ground attack, and you want to tell me you still don't know what to bring out at 4.7? Come on. The cannons have 39mm of pen, and they're very easy to use. The default belts have AP and HE, which I think is the perfect combination. The armor-piercing shells can go through the roofs of most tanks, and the high explosive can shred through open tops and blades in just a short burst. Not to mention, the Corsair was recently given HVARs, which is just... you know how I feel about HVARs.
Hey. Okay. Fucking do beat, they smoke. All a nigga call like Uno. Them a nigga shit like Uno. You niggas act like Uno. You and her don't get go. Fucking do beat, they smoke. Fucking do beat, they smoke. Fucking do beat, they sumo. Tell me who the hottest motherfucker that you know. If it ain't me, you a puto. Curry get the flame, call a nigga Prince Zuko. Swimming through the money like a flounder. I just want the knowledge and the power. Want a nigga looking at me sour. Try to eat a nigga like Jada. Rada. Never give a fuck about a dollar. More money, me more problems. Fuck me the ball like Otto. Cause I got it on my own. With no help, man. Got a bad headache, that's it. And my self-clean. They need a new hope. Deliver new dope. Giving out bricks like Shaq at the free throw. Anybody wanna be ET? Man, y'all niggas can't see me. Out of my league, you pee-wee. Pocket to beat Rakesh. Pocket to beat they smoke. All a nigga call like Uno. Them a nigga shit like Uno. You niggas act Uno. You and her don't get go. Pocket to beat they smoke. Pocket to beat they smoke. Pocket to beat they smoke. What? Some money got a nigga that call like bitch a rumor. Every killer is on the move, no Uber. People try to back a nigga down like loner. E-clubs wanna take all my chips, wanna pop off the club like I'm in CD. I go back with the back, I'ma flip when they feel like a damn battleship.
This plane feels like a victory lap for any experienced CAS pilot. It feels like anti-air can't touch you, like planes can't catch you, and armor can't stop you. If you don't like this plane, then I don't like you.
Fucking do big, they